Hello.
Hey, hello,
What's up,
Brian.
man? How you doing,
Well,
brother?
first of all, thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No problem, man.
Yeah, the first question is, how did you get into wrestling
Well,
business?
I was screwing around with my friends, and some local wrestler saw us, and he was like, "Hey, man, how would you like to be a wrestler?" And then so that's how it started. then I
Oh,
went. Then I went and trained at the LIWF Doghouse, which is most famous known people are Homicide and Loki.
okay, well,
And that's where I learned to wrestle.
and so that's how you got into the business.
That's it, man. That's how I did it.
Uh, what company did you work for early in your career?
The biggest early company I worked for was Jersey All Pro Wrestling, which was huge in the Northeast. A lot of guys that are still on TV now, like Samoa Joe, Kenny Omega, AJ Styles, Eddie Kingston, uh, a whole bunch of others. So I was in that company. That was like the first bigger indie I was in. So that was probably 2007 or 8.
Okay.
And from there, the next biggest one would be like the Dragon Gate USA / Evolve thing. And
Hmm.
then that pretty much carried me all the way through, uh, I don't know, 2020, the pandemic. And then that got bought up by WWE. And then I wasn't there. And then I ended up in NWA. So that's my trajectory of the bigger companies.
So right now, I see right now you're the NWA Power TV champion.
Right. I'm the NWA World Television Champion. Um, and I completed the Lucky Seven rule. It's the Lucky Seven rule means when you win 7 matches for the NWA, you can cash it in for a world title shot if you want, which the promo debuted on TV yesterday where I announced I will be cashing it in. So I'm still
Okay.
the champion. I'm still the champion until I cash it in physically. But I've already made it known that I will soon not be the champion because I'm going for the world title.
And when it's all that happened.
Like I said, the promo was on TV yesterday, and the match will be upcoming in probably a few weeks.
And is it your first time going after the world title?
I am not sure. I feel like yes. I feel like the answer is yes, but maybe not. I might have wrestled Tom Latimer for the world title a couple times. I feel like maybe I just don't remember.
All right.
So not sure. I
And,
didn't. I didn't win it ever. I can tell you that. I didn't win the world title yet, so I'm trying.
and maybe you will this time.
Maybe I will, buddy.
So I was gonna ask you, yeah, who's your rival in the business so far?
Rivalries. I got a pretty good one going with Thrillbilly, the current NWA champion. I had a big feud with him last year. He broke my collarbone. I had to get
Ooh,
surgery. So, I mean, yeah, I'd say he's my biggest rival at the moment. So I feel like that adds up to a really good title series. And there's it's very physical. I would say, I don't know what happened there. I would say outside of that, I have a good rivalry going with AJ Francis,
ooh, okay.
also known as Top Dollar. Like we've wrestled each other quite a lot of times in quite a few places. So he's another one. But yeah, probably those two.
And let me ask, did you have any opportunities to wrestle for WWE, TNA, AEW?
No, I did do a WWE tryout and I did some behind the scenes stuff with them.
Okay.
But never. I was invited to one AEW one time. Um,
Mhm.
I did have an offer to wrestle as an extra, I think, but
Okay.
or maybe it was to appear. I think it was to appear under a mask or something.
Oh,
And
okay.
I don't know. I wasn't that into it, so. But I gave the opportunity to somebody else. I didn't think it was right for me, but uh, I've never done anything with TNA.
Okay. Uh, so, do you only wrestle in the United States, or have you been to like Japan,
I have been to
Mexico?
Japan. Yes, of course. I've wrestled in Japan, Mexico, England,
Wow,
Canada, Italy, Australia, China.
jeez, you
So,
are,
oh, Dominican Republic. There's a bunch more. Yeah, Panama. I've been to a
jeez.
lot of countries, man. Yeah.
So, where's your favorite place to wrestle?
If I had to pick, I would say Puerto Rico, man. I think that's the best fans. I think it's its own world. I don't think many people in the States realize like WWC's been around for I don't know, since the 60s. So
Hmm.
sometimes, all the smart Mark fans on the internet try to give it a bad name by referencing, what happened with Bruiser Brody and all that
Yeah.
nonsense. And it's like, I get it. I truly get it. But I would say, that was a long time ago. And the thing about most of these smart Mark fans or even wrestlers that try to act like they know shit, I don't think they realize, dude, WWC has its own TV in Puerto Rico, and they filmed, back in the day, they were doing 4 days a week on the island. And Puerto Rico's not a big island. So they were doing all the way across the island and back filming TVs and having, house shows. And it was like its own real territory, as big as anywhere else could ever be. And the TV culture there of WWC still is on the WEPA channel every week. And it's on there, I think, Fridays and Saturday nights. They air the episodes. And it's a local channel, so basically everyone watches it. And I mean, like, there's very few people on the island of Puerto Rico that would not know who Carlos Colon is. So I'm saying, just by the actual amount of people that are knowledgeable, the fact that WWC exists and are actually fans of it is
Hmm.
a very high percentage. It's the only place I've ever been to where I can walk down the street and two, three, four times a day, someone will shout my name out of a car or come walking up to me or be working in a restaurant or something and say, "Oh my God, I know you." So I just think it's so underrated about how great the wrestling culture is there and the respect from the fans. And, they're known also for being the craziest fans. They're the ones that used to try to stab people, throw batteries at you,
Yeah.
etc., which I think is awesome. I don't know, man. I mean, like, what's the point of, you know, I mean, I have my own perspective on wrestling, and I'm not shy to say it. Like, if you were like, okay, what kind of fans do you prefer? I prefer wrestling for kids. I think they're the best fans. And I think when you get into the mindset of trying to please 50-year-old fans that are posting on the internet critiquing people's bodies and move sets, it's like it gets silly to me. And it's like, you're supposed to be a larger than life superhero. You're supposed to be telling a story. And it's like, yeah, I don't think it's something that's like, you can be a fan of it at an older age, but I'm saying, like, I think from a performer, your best fans are the ones that believe it the most. You know what I mean? It's a
Yeah.
lot easier to convince. It's a lot easier to convince a 8-year-old kid that the Undertaker is really dead and undead, versus telling that to a 45-year-old man with a job and 3 kids.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
I prefer that fan base, and I think, like I said, outside of that, like, I just feel like when it comes past that, then you look for the fans that are like respectful, genuinely love it, like give back to it. And I think Puerto Rico has that. I think they just have the best embodiment of that I've seen. So I love it there. And I'm also always going to say I'm very proud of what I've accomplished there, because there are not many uh, guys from the States, especially that aren't Spanish or Puerto Rican, that are just white dudes that have gone there and had the level of success I've had within the last 20, 25 years. Shane the Glamour Boy, Chris Candido, like, those were like the last dudes that were just like regular white dudes to make a big impact there. And so I've been very lucky in that regard, and I think it's very special. And I feel it was weird because it's something I always wanted to do, and it just kind of happened. And I was like, I tried for it, but it all kind of just came together, almost like magic. So it's like it's always so super special to me when I think about it. So I'd always talk about that over anything. So that's your answer, Puerto Rico.
Oh, thank you.
No problem.
So you did wrestle all around the world.
Yes.
Is there any different in between wrestling here and in the other countries, like the style?
Well, yeah. Style wise, yeah, and I would say, like I guess, like here's where I'll give you inside information. I feel like in Japan, everything is much more precise, and I don't know the word, like no one wants to screw up. And I'm saying in Japan, they especially try really hard not to. And that goes from every punch they throw, every kick they throw, like every movement. And I really appreciated that. And I thought it was astounding because some of the easiest, best matches I had ever, I felt like were in Japan. And I think that was really cool. And I like that mindset, like the respect level of not just respect, like, hey, you're cool, or hey, I'm here to protect you or work with you. I'm talking about the respect level of like, I'm supposed to be a professional. I'm not going to screw this up. I'm going to give you like an amazing A+ performance. And I felt like it kind of brought that out of me as well. Cause like when I'm, it's kind of how I am when I see somebody giving me that level of respect and worrying that much about being perfect, then I want to give them the same. And so it brought things to another level, which I thought was absolutely awesome. And I totally appreciate it. And I feel like their culture in general has a standard like that. Like I always use the example of like when you go to McDonald's here in the United States and you watch the guy back there making your burgers, he's usually like, picking his nose, talking to his friends, slamming everything on the bun and whatever and blah blah blah. He just sticks it in the package and hands it off to you. In Japan, the guy sits there like he's a pro chef at a Michelin restaurant, folding the paper a certain way, putting the bun perfectly straight. So there was a lot of that. And I'm saying that mindset prevails all over Japan. And I really appreciate it. So that would be your answer to that question, Japan.
Oh, cool. Okay. So how did you come up with the name Bright Idol?
Well, I mean, it's just, it originally, the concept of it was actually given to me by ECW's Joey Styles,
Ooh,
and
okay.
even though he kind of gave me a different last name, we kind of came up with, and the funniest part is the whole point of the Joey Styles said was, "This isn't a character for you, bro." He's like, "It's you." And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like watching me play a character, and he's like, "Why are you playing a character when the real you like kicks so much ass?" He's like, people make characters to be like you. And I was like, yeah, I feel it too, but like, you don't always look at yourself like that. And so it just kind of came up with that deal. And it's a nod to, it's kind of a mix of a nod to the 80s and also to the uh you know legendary wrestler Austin Idol. And so that's where it all came together.
Oh, that's cool. Cool, cool. Last two questions here.
Sure.
What do you like better, being a baby face or do you like being a heel?
Well, I think it's a tough question in that I think personally in public, whether it's social media or just my interactions with people, I think I'm really on the line where a lot of people perceive me as a heel, um, because I'm very blunt and I'm not I just tell people like it is. Like I'm not mean. I just don't like bullshit. And like, sometimes it's hard to look at somebody and say, like, oh, you did this, it's shitty, or like you know what I'm saying? Or like if somebody's like, hey, do you like my hair? And I'm like, not really, it looks kind of crazy. And and so when you're that kind of person and you don't mean to insult people, but you say things very truthfully and bluntly, that rubs people the wrong way. So it's tough. I prefer to be in life. I want to be known as a baby face, as a good guy. But
Yeah.
I think my demeanor or my actions kind of pin me the other way. So, but I wouldn't have that any other way. I'm saying like I wouldn't change the way I am. So I guess it's a tough question. I like being me, and if I'm
Okay.
perceived as a heel, then yeah, I like being that guy. But I'm saying in reality, I try not to be. So I gave you both the wrestling and the real life answer there.
And the last question is, if you could put your favorite wrestlers on the Mount Rushmore of wrestling, who would
Okay.
you put up there?
Well, contrary to, again, I mean, maybe I just sit on Twitter too much these days, but like, if your Mount Rushmore of wrestling doesn't have Hulk Hogan at number one, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
So I would definitely put Hulk Hogan at number one,
Okay.
just based on every single thing that he did for the business as far as the notoriety and being the
Yeah.
single most recognizable wrestler ever on the planet worldwide. And
Oh, yeah.
so, there's that. Um, Past that, I think a lot of it is subjective and it's
Mhm.
different opinions for people. But when I look, I don't know, man. I get it's hard for me to like make rankings and whatever,
Yeah.
but there's definitely guys that had amazing things. You go with the Bret Harts or you go with like the
Mhm.
Mr. Perfect. Like I think those two are incredible. And then, even Ric Flair, like you start just everything that he embodied and all and the way he performed in the ring.
Mhm.
So, and then from there, there's guys like, I feel like for different aspects, like, if you're talking about captivating someone like Roddy Piper, and then, if you were adding more people, then you got a Jake the Snake. So it's like, I mean, I feel like some of the answers are very obvious or cliche,
Yeah.
but for
Sure.
me, I would say this. I think the best performers in the ring probably came out of the Attitude Era,
Okay.
but the best personalities and the people that made the most profound impact overall, I would say, came out of the late '80s era. So that's where the bulk of my Mount Rushmore lies. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's other great. I mean, like, look, like I said, you go in the Attitude Era, and you could take a Mick Foley or a Steve Austin, and they're amazing. And even The
Yeah.
Rock, obviously, same thing for all the notoriety. But mine, like I said, I guess the answer is just what I would choose, and so the names I named are the ones I would pick because that's the era where I feel had the biggest effect on me.
Well, yeah. Thank you for the interview. I really appreciate it,
Oh, no problem, man.
and good luck on your championship match.
Hey, man, I'm gonna do what I can.
And I'll be watching on TV.
Awesome. Yep. You can check it out on NWA Power on Roku. And sometimes they replay it on YouTube, sometimes they don't. But it's on demand on Roku 24/7. Uh, so we got a lot happening there. You can check it out. Or you can go to bryanidol.com. I post updates there. But yeah, man, that's all I got.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.